What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode for part number 13 today at the Austrian Grand Prix. And it has been a while since I said that because last time out in Brno an entire month and a half ago, maybe even more by the time that this video comes out. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we took to the track in Brno, and it wasn't the best weekend for us. After the win in Germany, our first win of the season, it was a 12th place in Brno. A tricky weekend at the Czech Republic. This is how that race affects the championship standings, though. It's Angel Piqueras on top. We are tied second with Jose Antonio Rueda, 15 points behind Piqueras in the championship. That's how the team standings look. We've slipped down to 4th on the River Cold Snipers Honda, and it's looking like it's going to be an exciting fight. 30 points covering the top 4 with Adrian Fernandez, our bitter rival in this Moto3 World Championship. He's there in 4th, but we've got a big weekend ahead of us in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. We've got to obviously first try and get into Q2 and then see what we can do from there on in. So as we head into free practice, well, practice 1 at the end of Friday afternoon, it is nice and sunny, nice conditions, and hopefully that will in turn allow us to lay down some fast lap times here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg for round 13 in the Moto3 World Championship. So getting the lap underway and the session underway here in Spielberg, piling up towards turn number 1, up the very steep hill, clipping that inside curb, getting on the power, a little bit of a shake from the back end, a little bit of grip, kicking that front wheel in the air as well as we drive now towards this chicane that was added in, I'm going to take a guess here, at 2022, after the incident with Valentino and co at the top of the hill. Very, very scary incident at turn number, what was turn 3, because a little kink there on the left was turn 2. But as we head now towards the line to end our first flying lap, just kind of getting back into the rhythm, back into the groove of the Moto3 bikes, and obviously the Austrian circuit. And as we skip a bit later on in the session, you can see that our lap time is very much reflective of our dialing ourselves back into things, because we are 23rd on the leaderboard and 1.8 seconds adrift of Adrian Fernandez, one of our title rivals, who leads Boassery in second place. A weird top kind of 4 or 5 with Ogden, Lunetta and Caro there, and then Uriarte and Eddie O'Shea as well, doing a good lap time at the first half of the session. But as we come across the line, we improved our lap time on the last run, 38.4, but since then we've piled in some laps, 38.6, 38.5, but not quite getting the better of our 38.4. So we put on the fresh rubber for the final 5 or so minutes of this session, and we're going to see what we can do. We're up behind Matteo Batelli on the MTA bike. We're going to try use him as a bit of a marker, use him a bit of a slipstream, a bit of a tow around these long straights to try and claw some time. But as you can see, we're struggling really, really badly on the exit of these slow corners with the traction. Just getting the power down through the rear tyre into the tarmac and driving us out of these corners. And as you can see, a little bit of a frustrating moment as we touch the green and invalidate that particular lap. But a bit of an incident behind us, a pit lane incident with riders coming out of the pit lane and having a bit of a collision further back. I think that happened as well. We witnessed it happen in one of the other sessions as well. So a bit of a strange pit lane exit, and the AI doing strange things on the exit of the pit lane, but it's kind of to be expected. It's Milestones MotoGP games. But as we drop now into the penultimate corner on this particular lap, our probably penultimate lap of the session, as we drop into the final corner, picking up the throttle nice and early. That was better. We didn't run too high up on the exit curve and across the line, and it is going to be an improvement, and it is going to be top of free practice, and we go into qualifying top of the pile, which is a nice surprise, because it didn't feel like during that session we were going to be anywhere near the front, let alone topping free practice. So into Q2 we go, fastest in practice. Let's see if we can reflect that pace here in qualifying in much more cloudy conditions compared to what free practice was. So a little bit cooler track temperature, that might work in our favour a little bit. We'll have to wait and see as we now pile up towards turn number 1 for the first time. 12.5 minutes remaining. We've run wide at turn 1. We missed the apex. We've got Ogden coming out of the pit, so we're going to dip over and try and get a slipstream, but he backs out of it and lets us go as he should do. And then actually there's an incident. I don't know whether it was Ogden and somebody else going down further behind us, but somebody had come to grief around the Austrian GP circuit. Now up towards turn number 4 for the first time in this one, and let's see, a much better exit than what we were getting in some of the practice laps where it was spinning up on the first crack of the throttle. We managed to actually drive out the corner, but a big moment into the penultimate corner, and we've gone down, and that is the end of that particular run. So we'll have to wait and try again on the next particular run, which starts now. We've got 9 and a bit minutes left on the clock, and we are coming to the end of another flying lap here in the Red Bull Ring. A quick pit, new tyres, a straight back out on track, wasting no time. Across the line, it's going to be a 37.3, and that's going to be provisional pole position by 16 thousandths of a second, because further back, Scott Ogden, who's not in our slipstream, but he's there with a bit of a marker, he's able to drag himself up, and then on the very next lap, or later on in the session, he's actually managed to drag himself a tenth ahead of us. And to be fair, Dennis Foggia and Taio Furusato, very good laps from them as well. They've put themselves clear of myself as well. So we're now heading the second row of the grid with Matteo Bertelli and our good friend Adrian Fernandez in P6 ahead of his teammate David Almanza. Luca Lanetta on the second. Aspar bike as we touch the green and invalidate our lap is 8th with Kelso currently on the top Red Bull KTM, because his teammate Rueda is there in 10th place as well. Munoz 11th, Eddie O'Shea in 12th, and Quiles in 13th. Well, that's going to be all she wrote for us. 4th position on the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. It's Dennis Foggia on pole, and it's Furusato and Ogden joining him on the front row. Our title rivals, though, well, Angel Piqueras is nowhere to be seen as he qualifies 18th on the grid for this one. Rueda there in 10th. Fernandez on the second row with us. It's set to be an exciting race here in Austria, so let's get into the Grand Prix. 7 laps of the Red Bull Ring coming up.
Good morning to all you MotoGP fans. The famous Red Bull Ring Bull is watching over this circuit, which is about to be the stage for the Austrian Grand Prix. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the Moto3 race.
The stage is set then for 7 laps of the Austrian Red Bull Ring circuit for the Moto3 Grand Prix. And looking at variable conditions facing us ahead of this one. Dennis Foggia starts on pole position with Taio Furusato in second, and Scott Ogden rounding out the front row in third place. It's going to be an exciting one. 15 points the gap to Angel Piqueras in the championship. And we've presented ourselves a great opportunity to claw some points back with the Spaniard starting this race down in 18th, out of the points already. Marcos Uriarte has got a long lap penalty further back. We won't have to worry about him. I don't think he's starting this race from the mid-pack, I believe. I can only apologise about the footage in the background. It's just freezing and glitching at the minute. It seems that the Elgato capture card, this new capture card, the new Elgato that I bought, it seems to be glitching out a lot. It seems to be having many problems. But anyway, we have to put that to the one side because we're going racing here in Austria as the lights go out and we are underway, and it is not a good start from ourselves. We instantly drop behind Bertelli, but everybody's just rolled out of it. A similar incident to what happened in Mugello earlier on in the championship, where everybody just doesn't accelerate. It's almost like they've got the pit limiter on or something, but everybody except Furusato rolled out of it on the way in towards turn number 1 and into the braking zone. So we're back up into P2 in this race, and we gain 2 places on the run up towards turn 1. A weird start to the race here in Austria, but I'm not complaining because it's put us in a good position as we look to the inside of Furusato on the Honda. No way through though on the Japanese rider who's inherited the lead after that bizarre start. It's myself in second, Ogden third, Adrian Fernandez in fourth, and then Dennis Foggia slipped down to P5 as we head into turn 5 for the first time, and with Furusato leading the way. So a good start for the Japanese rider, 2.5 tenths ahead of us as we come out of turn 5, a place that I struggle a little bit this section of the track, so we're going to have to watch out for that one over the course of these 7 laps. There's warnings coming in further back. Ricky Rossi has been given an irresponsible riding warning, and Jacob Ralston is also under investigation for something as well. But as we now come through turns 7, 8 and 9, we power our way through, and we are taking the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix at the end of the first lap over Taya Furusato, and now we can try and break away at the front of the field. But it's going to be a tough ask around here with the slipstream and the heavy braking zones. It's going to keep the pack fairly bunched up, but we do have half a second advantage in our pocket, which means we should be out of the danger zone in towards turn number 1. But we'll have a look at this start again, because look, everybody just stops on the way in towards turn number 1. Not entirely sure what went on, but it helps us anyway. But now on lap number 2, we're looking at Jose Antonio Rueda, one of the championship contenders in this Moto3 battle, and he's gone down at turn 2 and 3 chicane. He's down and out of the race, and we are in the lead of the race, which benefits us because Rueda scoring no points, we're scoring 25 as it stands. We're going to move back ahead of him in the championship, and if you look on the left hand side of the screen, Angel Pagaris is not to be seen inside the top 10, which also benefits us because we're going to gain big points over him. But for now, we've got to worry about this race, and this race only, because Furusato still piling on the pressure behind. The number 72 Honda Team Asia bike is going to look to the inside towards turn number 7 again. Our weaker point on the circuit, but no way through for Furusato there. He is going to remain in P2 with Ogden still there in 3rd position on the CIP bike as we head through turns number 8 and 9. It seems to be quite strong in the middle of turn number 8, and then getting the power down through turn 9. That seems to be a strong point for us. So we're kind of to-ing and fro-ing with the other riders here, and where we're stronger, where they're stronger, and it's actually resulting in quite an equal, balanced, level playing field across the course of the lap. But still, look at that, there's still a fairly large group, a little gap separating Foggia and Bertelle, but it's still a fairly large, hefty group at the front of this field as we now look up the inside again of Furusato, who got the run on us out the final corner, but we get late on the brakes and through to retake the lead. But we're might have to relinquish that down in towards the turn 2 chicane, because Furusato carried the corner speed, carried the exit speed, and does indeed draft his way through and back into the lead of the race. But one man who's keeping his powder dry is Scott Ogden there in 3rd position, holding firm at the minute, letting myself and Furusato do the work, do the battling, and slowing the pace down. A 38.8. Remember, our race pace really in practice was mid to low 38s, 38.3, 38.4. So we are about half a second slower than what we can be doing, which isn't a massive amount when you're battling as hard as we are at the front as we run in very deep to turn 5. That's going to allow Furusato the inside line and through into the lead once again, and Ogden might actually look to capitalise now. The man who was keeping his powder dry slips his way through into P2, but we're going to get the cutback on not just Ogden, but we're going to line one up on Furusato as well, and we do get back underneath the Japanese rider just about. We're going to run him a little wide and get the power down, cut over his nose, but then a bit of contact with myself and Furusato. We slide the rear, and that's going to allow Fernandez to capitalise on Ogden. We're going to try and give Furusato the position back, but we didn't quite time that one right at all, and then ended up backing Furusato into Ogden once more. So a little bit of a messy end to lap number 3 here at the Red Bull Ring, but Furusato now will take the lead of the race once more, as Adrian Fernandez is given an irresponsible riding warning, so he must have clipped Ogden earlier on in that battle. As we now power again up towards turn number 1 for the 4th time, and late on the brakes again. We seem to be better on the brakes, but the AI, because they brake early, they're able to carry more speed through turn number 1, whereas we're running into the corner quicker but then stopping in the middle of the corner and then trying to drive it out instead of just letting it flow a little bit. So we need to just relax a little bit, let the bike come to us, let the race come to us, and see what we can do in the remaining couple of laps here at the Red Bull Ring. Down towards turn number 4 for the 4th time. We've got a yellow flag further back. It's Noah Detweiler on the 2nd CIP bike who's gone down. His teammate remains in the podium battle, but unfortunately for Noah, his race has come to an early end as we are under pressure once more from Taya Furusato, who's going to come for a late move up the inside. A bit of contact there, a block pass from Furusato, and he nicely takes the lead of the race. And once again, it's the Japanese rider to take the lead from us, but we're again now under pressure from Ogden because he's got the run and he's going to throw it to the inside, as is Adrian Fernandez, and we have to sit up to avoid contact with the Spanish rider on the Leopard Honda. We're now going to try and look round the outside, but no way through there, and in turn that allows Dennis Foggia to come through, but a switchback to the inside, contact with Fernandez. As we two lines merge into one there, we get an investigation warning, and we might end up with an irresponsible riding warning after that one, because we did pile into the side of Fernandez, who now looks to the inside of Scott Ogden. No way through for him, and as we peel into the final corner, we pick up our first warning of the race, and then actually, like London buses, we get 2 for the price of 1, because we get the irresponsible riding warning for the contact with Fernandez a couple of corners ago. But now up towards turn number 1, we get the slipstream from Fernandez down the inside of not just Fernandez, but up the inside of Scott Ogden as well, and we somehow get it stopped. But look at that, we don't carry the speed. Fernandez rolls out of it, and now here comes Dennis Foggia. The pole man is through into second place, in towards the chicane. We're going to have the inside line. We've run him wide, and we do maintain second place from Foggia. But he's thrown himself into the ring. He's thrown his hat in the ring, and he's up into P2. So Foggia, who dropped down to 5th in the early stages of this race, is now fighting his way back through, and he's into the podium fight. But look at the gap that Forasato's been able to pull, in the fact that we've been battling as hard as we have, and that gap has opened up to 1.8 seconds, 1.6 seconds to Dennis Foggia as we go round the outside of the Italian into turn 5. We're not going to get that one, surely not. No, we don't, as Foggia laughs under his helmet and comes back through on the inside. But 2 and a bit laps to go of the Red Bull Ring. It looks like, barring a mistake, this one's going to go the way of Taio Furusato, because he's got 1.9 seconds over us, and in turn we're 0.2 of a second behind Dennis Foggia on the Aspar bike. So unless that we can box smart with Dennis and try and slipstream our way back to Taio Furusato, then we are going to be fighting for second place here at the Red Bull Ring, down towards the penultimate corner for the 5th time. No way through for Foggia. We get on the inside curve, that's going to push us wide on the exit, and Foggia's through and into second position. We look for the switchback on the Italian, but no way through. He blocks it off nicely, and he's going to move up into P2. But again, using the slipstream from that Aspar bike up towards turn number 1. Here comes Adrian Fernandez as well, trying to make it 3 wide. We peel through and we emerge out of turn 1 in second position, but again, not able to carry the speed. We're going to be putting ourselves under pressure into the chicane as Foggia looks to the inside. Who's later on the brakes? It's going to be us, and we do maintain P2. We hold on to that position in second place in this podium fight. Ogden's still there, by the way. He's in 5th place ahead of Matteo Bertelli. Munoz as well getting in the mix as well, and David Almanza and Luca Lanetta, the current fastest rider of the race, on the 37.8. That's a whole second quicker than what we've been doing. So while he's been detached from the leading battle group, as we make a mistake at the penultimate corner at the end of the penultimate lap, and we're now back under pressure because here comes Foggia, here comes Fernandez, and surely here comes Scott Ogden as well on the way into turn number 1. So we've just dropped ourselves from second all the way down to what will be 3rd position as we look to the inside. How have we stayed on that as we took the inside curve? The front end was gone, the back end was gone, and we managed to not just maintain the position over Ogden, but stay in this race as well. Down in towards the chicane now for the final time. It's Foggia over Fernandez, and then we have another big slide on the exit of the chicane as we try and ask for the power. The rear soft tyre has come to pretty much the end of its life as we come out of turn number 4. We've lost Ariarte earlier in this race, and now we've lost Rolston, who was the fastest man on that last lap. He's crashed out of contention. Munoz is pushing us down the straight. I don't know where to look. It's going to be a battle for P4 because Foggia and Fernandez have been able to escape thanks to that mistake from us, nearly high-siding out of the seat out of turn 2. And it's going to be a fight for the wooden spoon. No place on the podiums for us, I think, today, barring a mistake from the riders ahead. But we've got a pressure coming from Munoz, who's really desperately trying to find a way through. We're trying to just nurse our bike home, but look at that, we have absolutely nothing left on the rear tyre. We're spinning everywhere. Munoz runs into the back of us in true David Munoz style. We're nearly high side at turn 8. Munoz comes through, and Ogden's going to try and find his way through as well. Look on the right hand side. Is he going to throw it up the inside at the penultimate corner? No, he's not. We're later on the brakes. He was under pressure from Bertelli as well, but it's going to be P5 unless we make a mistake at its final corner, which we don't. It's P5, but it's Furusato who wins the fastest lap of the race on the last lap as well. Foggia 2nd, Fernandez 3rd, Munoz 4th, and we round out the top 5 in 5th position, which is okay. A podium and a couple more points would have been nice, but as you can see, Piqueras isn't even in the top 12 there, so we're going to be gaining points on him. We gain points on Rueda, who crashed out of contention as well. So with that, let's take a look at the championship standings, and it is 4 points the gap to Angel Piqueras. 14 points behind is Adrian Fernandez, 10 points behind us. He's 1 point clear of Rueda in what looks to be a 4-way scrap for the Moto3 World Championship. In the Teams Championship, Leopard's up to 3rd with that result. A strong showing there from Fernandez and David Almanza as well, who finished inside the top 10. But it's the Empty Helmets MSI squad who maintain their lead, 10 points over Red Bull KTM Iron. So at the end of the Austrian Grand Prix, it's time to pick our next rival, and I think it looks like we've got Furusato Piqueras or our good friend Adrian Fernandez, who we'll obviously pick. We'll do it for the story, we'll do it for the plot. We're going to pick Adrian Fernandez as our next rival in the Moto3 World Championship, just because he loves us so much that he gives us a big red angry face next to his name tag in the Moto3 World Championship. A case of just replying to some of the buzz and the messages and mentions that we've got from Rucci Mudley, Tyler Furusato, the victor of the Austrian Grand Prix. But there we go, that is the end of that one. Some important points clawed back. Not the best feeling in the race towards the end of the 7 laps. That held us back a little bit, but a very, very exciting edge of the seat battle nonetheless, that ended in victory for Tayo Furusato, podium for Dennis Foggia, and the Leopard Honda of Adrian Fernandez. But we are right back in contention after dropping a couple of points in Brno, 4 points behind in the championship chase as we head into pastures new for round 14 of the championship at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Balaton Park making its debut on the Moto3 calendar and the MotoGP calendar in general, so check out that one. That one will be coming very, very soon, and hopefully we can get a good result at a brand new circuit. So until then, thank you very much for watching this episode of the MotoGP Career Mode, and I'll see you for round 14 at the Balaton Park circuit very soon.